If you enjoy beauty content that encourages you to use what you have, then you're in the right place. This is the June and July update for my Panning Cats and Dogs project. You might be having a hard time figuring out how cats and dogs have anything at all to do with using up makeup and beauty items. But if you stick around, I'll tell you all about it. A project pan is kind of like a game to help you use up the products that you already own. This one was created by Deb B and Danny. They both have channels and they will be linked in the description box below, and it is a Pantastic Ladies collaboration. The Pantastic Ladies is a group over on Facebook, and if you're interested in joining that information will be down there too. This project pan has a series of 30 prompts and they are all centered around our pets. The way this works is you pick a prompt, read it, and something about that prompt relates to a product in your inventory that you then bring in and commit to using for the month. The project started October 22nd of 2023 and runs through October 22nd of 2024. That just happens to be National Make a Dog's Day. If after you watch this video you decide this is something you'd like to get in on, you can, even though the project is underway. Just start where you are and jump right in. I will be looking at my very technical and highly accurate tracking notes while we go through what I had in the project for the past 2 months. I was updating this project every month, but it got to be a little much with this one and the Out the Door in 24 that I'm doing, and so I decided to alternate the updates, and it has been working really well for me. In June, somehow I ended up with 6 prompts, which is fine because I had 2 months to work on them, and one of the prompts actually had 2 products in it. Starting at the top, we had one that was rolled in from the previous month. In fact, it was rolled in from the previous couple of months because it came into the project in March, and my goal was to finish. It's still not gone. This is the Sea Island Cotton Body Mist from Bath & Body Works, and like I said, my goal is to finish it. You can see where my marks are, and I still have probably 2 months worth in here. So maybe by the next update, it will be gone. I used that 35 times in the past 2 months. Previously, I had used it 25. So I have used this 60 times since I first brought it into the project. And that's how much use I have. Just to let you know, if you have a whole bunch of these sitting around, 3 months worth is that. Yeah. One thing project panning does for you is give you an idea of how long it actually takes to use up these beauty and makeup products. And sometimes I'm not sure that that's something I really want to know. Moving on. Oh, I didn't tell you what that prompt was. That was for Beagle, and they are scent hounds, and so that way it was a fragrance item. The next prompt was Saint Bernard, and they are a rescue breed, and so this was something that rescues your makeup. And I brought in the Essence 16-Hour Cover and Last Powder Foundation. Not only is this my very favorite powder foundation, it's also an excellent setting powder, and it's a great rescue powder. If I got ready in the morning, came home, it's 5 o'clock, I have to get ready to go to rehearsal, feeling a little shiny, I can blot, put this on, and I am ready to go, and I can go another 4 hours easily. So this was what I put in for Rescues My Makeup, and my goal was to finish it. And that I did. I'll have you know that this is now the second one of these that I have emptied. I do have a full review of this product that I will link in the cards there and down below if you're interested in seeing my thoughts on it. I don't need to repurchase it because my good friend Andy over at Andy Does Stuff sent me hers. Now, the shade I was purchasing was 02 Champagne, and Andy sent it to me in 05 Classic Vanilla. And I gotta say, it works just as good for my skin tone as the Champagne does. So I'm not sure what that says about their shade range, but it's still a really good powder. So that one gets to roll out. The next prompt was balls, toys, and these are items that roll away. And I put in my e.l.f. Lash and Roll Mascara. And the reason I put this in here was because I was having a little trouble with it flaking, and I thought maybe it was getting old. So I wanted to put it in and see, and I put it in for a goal to finish because I was either going to finish it or declutter it. Well, in using it more, I don't know, maybe it just needed to get stirred up in the tube or something, but it's actually been performing really well. And so I'm going to keep it in and keep using it, but it is really kind of getting to the end of its life. And so after these 2 months, when I update again, I will be getting rid of this, whether it is empty or not. The next prompt was for German Shepherd, and this is a guard dog or a protector, and so it was for an item that protects your makeup. And they gave examples of an SPF, a primer, a setting spray, something like that. So I put in a primer, but actually I put in 2 primers because they were both getting really close to being empty, and I didn't want to just put in one and then have an empty spot for like a month and a half. So I put them both in. The first one was the Hard Candy Longwear 12-Hour Primer, and I actually cut it open and used the cap to push all of the product out. I actually did a little short video on that. I'll put it in right now. So when you have a tube that's almost empty, you want to cut off the top about 1 inch down. Then you can see there's still product inside. Now take off the cap and put it flat side down inside the tube. Push it down, and I always use the end of a brush for this. And if you keep pushing it down, it will push all of the product down and out. If you want to close up the top again, you can put that little piece on and it will help keep it a little bit fresh. There's not very many uses left in here, so it doesn't really have to stay fresh for very long. It's a really great way of getting all of the product out. And so far, every tube I've done it for, the cap has filled the container perfectly. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then the other one was the Elemis Pro Collagen Insta Smooth Primer. And again, I cut it off. This one I didn't put the cap down in there because I was able to get it all out with my makeup spatula. If you have never used makeup spatulas to get the last of your products out of your containers, you are probably throwing away a lot of product. These are my favorite because it's one piece and it's silicone. I had a set one time where the little spatula end could come off, and it did, inside a foundation bottle. So if you get makeup spatulas, I would definitely recommend the one-piece design. This one has a spatula on one end and a little spoon on the other. And it came in a set of 4 on Amazon for about $7, and they are linked in my description box. For the Hard Candy Primer, I used it 16 times and it was gone. And for the Elemis Primer, I used it 26 times. This is a really small tube. I had used it before that too, and so I wouldn't have expected that there were that many uses in it. A lot of times I would use the Essence Hydrating Primer that I have in my Out the Door in 24 on the perimeter of my face, and then I would use one of these to smooth the pores and that sort of thing in the center of my face. So both of those will go in my empties. The 5th prompt was litter box, and this is something you wish your cat would bury in its litter box. And I put in this Essence Glamouflage Matte Concealer, and it isn't because I didn't like it. It's just because I had been working on emptying it for so long and it wouldn't end. But I think you can see that it is definitely gone. I took the stopper out and then I used my makeup spatula and scraped it out and did that and used all that was on the wand. So this is completely gone, and it took 23 uses to use it up. And then my final prompt, remember I said I had 6, was Corgi, and this is in parentheses butt wiggles. This is a product that jiggles, and for that I put in the Hask Curl Care Curl Shaping Jelly. My hair has a lot of natural wave in it. Sometimes I will just let it air dry with some product, scrunch it up, and let it be curly. And I had gotten this thinking maybe it would give a softer curl than a mousse, but it doesn't really do a good job of shaping the curls and managing the frizz. They don't have a lot of definition, and if it's humid at all, my hair will get super frizzy. So I had set a usage goal of 5 on this, and I did use it 5 times, and that was enough for me to know that I am going to declutter this product. I don't like it. I like using a curl cream, and sometimes I will even top that with a mousse if I want them to be just a little crunchy. So to wrap up, the body spray and the mascara stay in for the next round, and I'm rolling out the powder, the 2 primers, the concealer, and the curling gel. Now, I had 6. Typically, I've been doing 5 prompts each month, so I have 3 open spaces. And typically, at this point in the video, what I would do is pull up my wheel of names and select 3 prompts. However, if you look at my wheel of names now, there are only 3 prompts left. So to save time, I went ahead and filled those in and picked the products to go with them. So let's get into what I'm bringing in to fill the last 3 slots. The first one is cat litter, and that's a product that makes a mess. And I am bringing in the Flower Spotlight Liquid Highlighter. And I went back and forth about whether I should bring this in or not because I have 3 highlighters in my other project, the Out the Door in 24. But honestly, this is one that really does make a mess. It's one of those with the sponge tip on the applicator. You're supposed to open it and close it by twisting it, except that there's product all over the neck where you're supposed to grab it. So when you do that, you're going to get it all over your fingers. You can clean it, of course, before you do it, but because the product is all over the sponge tip, when you put it in here, it gets all over the lid, which then gets all over the neck again, and then it also squishes it down so that it squishes out here, and then you have to clean that before you can put it away and put it back in your drawer. I know Charlotte Tilbury did it first, but I see absolutely no reason for a component like this. It is just a mess, but it fits the prompt, so I'm putting it in for 15 uses. I didn't want to put it into finish because, like I said, I do have 3 other highlighters already in another project, and I never want to get to where a project is a chore, because the whole purpose of it is to make it more fun to use the products that you already have. And if it becomes a chore, then it's not doing its job. So 15 uses for the highlighter. The next one is Boop, and that is something you use on your nose. And I decided to bring in the Moira Soft Focus Waterproof Setting Powder in the shade 200. This is a really good setting powder, especially for the summertime because it is waterproof. It's mattifying. I have combo mature skin. I'm oily in the T-zone, and so I need, with our heat and humidity where I live, I do need a mattifying setting powder in order to keep my makeup in place all day long. I often, especially now that I'm in rehearsal for another show, I will put my makeup on at 7 o'clock in the morning and not take it off until 10 o'clock at night. And I really don't want to mess with my makeup. Sometimes I'll have a chance to stop at home before I go to rehearsal and I can touch up a little bit. But a mattifying setting powder really helps me get through those long days. I am putting a goal on this one to hit pan. It is a powder that I haven't used a lot, and so I don't think it's reasonable to expect that I would be able to finish it in the time that I have left for this project. So hitting pan, I do think, is a reasonable goal. And then the very last prompt that I have is best of breed. And this says, tell us about your pet and then include a product that you absolutely love. So let's talk about the product first, and then I'll tell you about my pets. The product that I love is actually fairly new. So you might think that it's a little soon to be putting this in, but I mean, if you get a pet, you know you love them right away, right? So this is the e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation. I got this not very long ago. Again, there's a review for that if you want to see it, but I just really like it. I know that there are some mixed reviews from people who have dry skin, so you might want to watch a couple of dry skin videos if that applies to you to see if you think it might work or not. But it is only $8, so it's not a huge financial investment to find out if it's going to work. I think it gives the prettiest finish on the skin. It lasts really well for me. And I found myself using it pretty much every day. When I first got it, I kind of had to force myself to put it away and use some of my other stuff. But now I'm going to put it in a project, which gives me license to use it all the time if I want. I also am not going to put a finish goal on this one since I really have only had it for about a month, but I am going to put a usage goal of 25, which means in a 2-month period, I pretty much will be using this about every other time that I use makeup because I don't use makeup every day. So I'm kind of happy about that. And then to tell you about our pets, we have a dog. Her name is Kyla. She is a rescue. My daughter wanted a dog when she was younger, but she said she wanted to make sure that she got one that didn't have a home because we had a good home for a dog. And so our Kyla has been with us for 7 years. She's a mutt. We think she probably has some pit, maybe a little terrier, something like that in her, but she is just the sweetest thing and she's so smart. My daughter trained her and she loves to do tricks and play and snuggle and loves her belly rubs. And then the other pet that we have is my cat Leonard, short for Leonardo DiCaprio. And I got him 3 years ago on Halloween. We were at a Halloween party and this little stray cat was just wandering around and meowing and wanting people to pick him up and hold him. And I'd asked around to see if it would belong to anybody. And they said, no, he's just been kind of wandering around and hanging around for a while. And so I decided that the universe chose Leonard for me and I took him home. And I think he's wonderful, but that's because he likes me best. He does come when I call. He loves to be scratched on his head, but when he's done and he gets up and he runs away. Sometimes he might bat at you or nip at you to let you know he's done. So you kind of have to read him and be done before he is. If you're participating in this challenge, let me know how you're doing down below. If you haven't seen the whole thing and you want to, I'll put the playlist over there. Thank you for being here. I hope you have a beautiful, blessed day. Bye-bye.